Hi, welcome. Welcome to a live stream of Majesty the Fantasy Kingdom Sim. Give me a sec so I can see comments. I need to go to... This is how new I am at streaming. I don't even know how to see the comments yet. There we are. Okay, hello, welcome. Welcome to Majesty the Fantasy Kingdom Sim. An underrated game, a classic. Welcome Space Thing 7474. This game, I think it came out in 2001. One of my favorites. It's an RTS, sort of. It's an RTS where you don't control your troops, which is fascinating. It kind of feels like a clicker, because you kind of just build buildings and stuff happens. Hi, Lucidity 13. So, Majesty of the Fantasy Kingdom Sim. Underrated game. Amazing game. Game I've played through plenty of times. How you going, Minnie? Looking graphically impressive, thank you. I don't have a custom webcam, so I've kind of got this low-angle, unflattering chin shot. I'm trying watching streams. Yeah, I don't watch a lot of streams. This is Majesty. You do build buildings. This is the single-player mode. You've unlocked most of the missions from the get-go. This is just a fresh, new game, and you can kind of go straight into the expert levels. But the one I'm going to choose is this one, called Quest for the Magic Ring. Majesty. Which is like... You gotta recover the Ring of Healing. This game's amazing. I love it. It's so addictive. So what it is basically... You can build buildings and make units. We're going to build a blacksmith. And when you build it, you know, the usual stuff. It looks like Age of Empires. You got your peasants that come out of the castle and walk over and start building the thing. But when you recruit units, here's a Solaris. They just walk around on their own. They're autonomous, right? So the game kind of instead becomes... I don't know, it's almost like a Sim City-like? Sim City mixed with Age of Empires, but there's less like infrastructure to worry about, and it's more about the units themselves. But yeah, we're gonna build this gnome hovel, and there's some things you can build in this game that when you build them, other types of units are like, yeah, I refuse to live with gnomes. So you won't be able to build other types of units if you choose certain types. And you kind of have to pick and choose depending on the mission. Though some unit types are way overpowered. Absolutely cursed stream thumbnail. Yeah, so the thing about that is, I think, hello there, Boromir. I think I uploaded that image as my profile picture for this YouTube channel before I had any like plans to use this YouTube channel, right? And I don't really know where it's retrieving that image from. And the back end on YouTube doesn't give me a lot of options to change the thumbnail from what I can see. I'm probably just not finding it because I'm stupid. So right now, yeah, the thumbnail's super cursed. So gnomes are great because they can build things really quickly for you. And the way you make money in this game is by tax collecting. You're the bad guy in this game. So this guy here is a tax collector, and he goes around and collects tax from all the buildings. And if he dies, if an enemy kills him, all that money is gone. So you've kind of got to protect them as you play with the few tools that you have, because you can't control units themselves. But yeah, fascinating game. How is everyone, by the way? Thanks for joining me on my second ever stream with these low production values. This game actually got a sequel in 2009, but no one cared. It was quite funny because it was kind of bad, and to have a sequel to a game that's already kind of niche that is bad is sort of just dead on impact. But what's funny about it, I remember it was the early days of Steam, right? And I remember just I remember purchasing it on Steam as one of the like early Steam games that I ever owned. And back then my internet would download at like 19 kilobytes a second. And it was a 2 gig game. And I remember having my computer on all night, downloading Majesty 2. And it wasn't finished by the time I woke up. It was tragic. So what I'm doing now is recruiting units, and you'll see these ranger guys. They're natural travelers, so they'll walk around and uncover the map. Did either have any cult following? Majesty 1 is certainly very popular, and they re-released it on Steam at some point, which is the version you're seeing. They call it Majesty HD Edition. And it has workshop support, so a lot of people have like made mods and that sort of thing. Yeah, Majesty 1 is a very popular game, especially at the time. The thing is, like, with RTS games, I feel like because the entire genre isn't popular at the moment, a lot of games that were popular while RTS games were popular don't feel like they had any cultural impact at all, or had any impact at all. But, like, what I mean by that is, like, because the entire genre is unpopular, it can be hard to get a sense of what was popular when the genre was popular. Like, there were games like Settlers and Kohan. Kohan Ahriman's Gift was the one I played a lot of. And Supreme Commander was quite popular. And of course there was, you know, StarCraft and Command & Conquer and Age of Empires. But they were a lot more popular outside of the USA as well, RTS games, which kind of meant with the way that sort of American culture, yeah, I feel like a few have left a consequential legacy on the meta. Yeah, maybe. It's just that the genre isn't popular anymore. And I think that Americans dominate the internet, basically. And in America, console gaming was a lot more popular than PC gaming. And RTS games were popular in like Europe and Australia and Korea. But most creators on the internet are American, so they'll talk about the games that they know better. So I feel like there's a bit of that element to it as well. So what's happening is the units I'm building are just wandering around the map, doing their thing, taking over places, killing people. And what I can do, even though I grew up playing Age of Mythology and Pharaoh, etc., UK-based, I don't actually have that much nostalgia for the genre, strangely. Yeah, it's sort of a strange thing, right? I think I'm sort of similar. I love this game, and I love Age of Empires a lot. But it does feel like a genre that's of its time now, which is weird, because growing up it was huge. It was a big deal, you know? But, yeah, you just wouldn't think it now, which I think is fascinating. But yeah, so this game you can set bounties. So the main way you can directly control your troops is by, if I double click over here, here's a reward explore flag on the bottom left of the map. And if I say $500 goes to the unit who walks over here and picks this up, or $1,000, no one's interested. How much money do I give these people? $1,500. 2,000. There we go. Someone's interested now. So now you have this person, you can see down here. They're going to try and walk over here and pick this up and earn $2,000. And then it's up to me to get them to stimulate the economy with that $2,000. So I've got to build marketplaces and all sorts of different things so that they invest that money into my kingdom, and then my tax collectors pick it up, and it's just develops this whole really interesting system. It's a different way of looking at how, I guess, an RTS game works. And it's funny, like, when I was a kid, I had no idea how, like, tax worked. I had no idea how economies worked. I had no idea how governments worked. Because I played this game when I was, like, you know, 8. And I feel like the amount of stuff that this game taught me about how just the world works, even in its primitive, literal tax collectors walking around gathering money. This guy's about to die and lose me a bunch of money. And I just put an attack flag on him, whoops. And yeah, it's funny. This game taught me a lot about how the world works. 8-year-old me being like, huh. So that's how the government makes money. You know? And I'm poor because I just gave $2,000 to this person who will hopefully come back and give me that money. What's also funny is you can build a rogues guild somewhere. Or maybe I can't. Oh yes, I can. You can build a rogues guild, which is this building. If you're just joining me, this is Majesty the Fantasy Kingdom Sim. An RTS game where you don't control your units. And it's the best. There was a game called Cossacks in the early 2000s that I remember being fairly popular as well. But yeah, RTS games, such an old genre. It feels like it turned into the MOBA, and then the MOBA just took it over. Even though they're like completely different kind of games. So rogues are interesting because they steal money from everywhere else, so it's kind of bad to even have them. So they'll just go around like looting. But you can extort them to get a heaps of money that they looted back to you instantly. So they're sort of a get-rich-quick scheme in Majesty. If you're also just joining me, I'm not much of a streamer. I apologize for the low production values, and probably this game doesn't stream very well. I'm still learning. This game's probably really blurry because I'm on Australian Wi-Fi, which is bad. But, yeah. So why I chose this mission is because there's a whole kingdom down here doing its own thing, right? These are the enemy. Well, they're not the enemy, but they sort of become the enemy later on. Oh, here's where the ring is. That's convenient. So what's funny about this mission is every other mission in the game is basically you against like these yellow type enemies, which are just kind of generic evil, you know, vampires and ghouls and goblins and that sort of thing. And then when you click on this mission, suddenly there's another kingdom and you're like, oh shit, I didn't know this game could do this. And it's sort of this fun little moment. And what I could do is I could put an attack flag on here and just start attacking this kingdom. But then they'll attack me back and I'll die. So we'll just keep clicking around. You'll notice that this game is really passive. I can really just sort of look around, do whatever I want. Perfect for streaming, I suppose. I don't have to think too much. So I want my guys to kill this thing because the objective of this mission is to destroy this and get a ring. But I think when I destroy this, a heap of enemies come out and then the red faction starts attacking me. You'll also notice that these houses start automatically appearing the more units you have. Which gives me more tax to collect, you know. You'll see these guys just going around. And another interesting thing about this game, I'm just gushing over Majesty today, is individual units will level up. And you can set this little camera here to keep looking at them to track them. And this guy's level 6, and the more he does, the more he levels up. So they kind of have this RPG factor to them, and they have spells and items and stats, and you can literally get really granular and look at their skills. But why this is interesting is because if you have a really great unit, like a level 50 dude, he's pretty much invincible and he'll become your favorite guy. So you want to nurture them, and you sort of grow an attachment to your units when they're really high level. And it's just a really charming game when it comes to its aesthetic and voice acting and dialogue lines. Something I should have built ages ago is a guard house, because with houses also comes sewers, which you can see here. And sewers, these giant rats. This guy's called Rat Man. They come out and start attacking your houses, and now this house is going to die, and I'll lose its money. And a warrior just died. That's annoying. Can we do a Warlocked Game Boy Color stream? That's a good idea. Warlocked on Game Boy Color is crazy, dude. Like, the fact that an RTS game is on Game Boy Color is wild, and probably speaks to how popular Game Boy Colors... how popular RTS games were at the time. And Warlocked is pretty, like, in-depth. It's a pretty good game. And it's on Game Boy Color, like, not even Game Boy Advance. Though there was GBA RTS games. I can't remember the name of it. There was one early on that was pretty fascinating. But yeah, let's do a Warlocked Game Boy Color stream. How much of your time is spent gaming? How much of your time spent gaming is for videos? Like, do you often kick back and play classics like this for fun, or are you usually focused on new stuff / stuff for content? Good question. I think I definitely play a lot of games leisurely as well as for YouTube. Whenever I play a game for YouTube, I play it in like a single sitting almost. I remember a couple of years ago there was a day where I woke up, I played through The Godfather 2 on the Xbox 360, and then I went to bed. That was like my day. It was the saddest shit ever. But at the end of every night, I like to just play something to relax. And often that'll be a new game. Often I'll play like Call of Duty or Rocket League or Counter-Strike or something like that. But I also have a CRT set up in my living room. And a PS2 plugged into that. And I'll play games on that a lot as well. This guy's about to die. And a lot of what I do... Oh, he won. A lot of what I do on YouTube involves like playing heaps of games and finding the ones that are interesting, right? So often leisurely I'll just boot something up, and so every evening, you know, well, not every evening, the occasional evening I'll just try a bunch of games, and if one happens to be really good, I'll be like, okay, cool, I can do a video on this. Which is what happens with my upcoming video on The Great Escape on Xbox from 2003, which came out 40 years after the movie, which is crazy. It turns out that game's far more like ambitious and interesting than you'd ever expect. So it's the kind of thing, like, you look at the reviews of something like The Great Escape, and I think all the reviews gave it like 5 out of 10 in 2003. Which isn't very good. Oh shit, I built... Yeah. So I destroyed this building, and now all these black phantoms have come out and are going to kill all my guys. And I'll probably lose because I did this too early. But anyway, yeah, a lot of the time with the games I cover, you can't tell how good the game is until you play it, because everything online is just like, this is a shitty game. Oh, we won already. Very good. That wasn't at all what I expected to happen.
The ring has saved us all, Majesty. As your heroes carried the relic back into town, it was
Main menu. So yeah, I kind of just have to play games to find out if they're good. Occasionally you'll get like a YouTube comment on a long play where someone's like, this game is super underrated. Why is no one talking about this game? And that's like the only positive thing about the game on the internet with some of the games I cover. So it's like, I just kind of have to figure it out for myself a lot of the time. And a lot of the time I play games for videos and just don't like them, which is a bit sad. And I don't bother covering them. But yeah, that was a mission in Majesty, the Fantasy Kingdom sim. We'll play one more.
Do not despair, your Majesty.
Build a fairgrounds to win this quest. So this is an easy quest. But it still gives you a sense of what this game is like. Hello! I bet this game looks super pixely on stream. I am learning that visually dense games don't stream well on Australian Wi-Fi. And I apologize for that.
Majesty, the local blacksmith offers new services.
So yeah, you kind of just build stuff and let stuff happen. And I feel like the clicker genre is kind of just this game. Actually, not too bad. That's good. This is a glorified clicker from 20 years ago. You just build stuff. You just click on things. That's every game. I'm playing this with a trackpad. Because the units control themselves, there's such a low commitment to playing this game. You can just play it on mute and listen to a podcast. It's wonderful. But yeah, nah, yeah.
Your Majesty, a new building is complete.
Last night, while I was playing games leisurely, I tried out Ratchet and Clank: A Rift Apart. And I didn't really like it that much. I feel like I have controversial opinions too often with video games.
We've improved the guardhouse. Your Majesty, a new building is complete.
Yeah, quality is decent, although the text can be kind of hard to read on mobile. Yeah, fair enough.
Sovereign, your marketplace now
Eventually, the idea is I'll have an Ethernet setup and a permanent streaming setup, and this will all make more sense.
Sovereign, a building has been upgraded. Your Highness, if our kingdom is to prosper, it needs more heroes. Majesty, the local blacksmith.
You'll hear these voices in the background that are just kind of constantly telling you what's going on and what you need to do. And when you're playing this game as a 10-year-old, that helps so much. Because when the game's just frankly like, you need to get more heroes, you're like, okay, sick. Hey, Micro Mini, I got this game on free on Prime Gaming and gave it a decent shot about 2 hours. I love the hero concept, but ultimately I uninstalled it. Fair enough. I mean, I don't know if I would love this game as much as I do had I not played it, you know, 20 years ago. But what didn't you like about it? The hero concept is good, and I feel like that's a big part of its draw. That's why it's so unique, right?
Sovereign, your marketplace now serves you better. Your Majesty, a new building is complete.
Because you can click on a dude and just track them and become obsessed with their activities. Stalk them as they walk around the map doing whatever they want. Because the AI all have different sort of behaviors. So the warriors are super protective of your city. The rogues just steal shit from everyone. The rangers just leave your city and walk around. It's charming. I just like it. I just think it's neat. And if you're just joining us, this is a game where this is an RTS game where you don't control your units, so you kind of have to incentivize them and collect tax from them. I'm sure I'm in the minority for the gameplay fans, but the game loop exhausted me. It felt like it took too long to get anywhere. Yeah, I get that. I think there's something satisfying. There's something in my brain that clicks with just slowly building a city outwards. That said, it did conquer a part of my heart, whether or not it's a damn fine game. Yeah, well said. There's something very relaxing about this game to me. Because it's quite passive, it's just nice to click around and let things happen and watch the thing that you're building slowly expand and watch your heroes level up and become attached to them. And you can either like speedrun this game and play it really aggressively and send out attack flags everywhere, or you can just sort of slowly build your city from within and let the AI just sort things out when they get around to it. And that's chill. I like that. And I haven't really played anything like it. Except Majesty 2, which isn't a great game. Majesty 2 is weird because the AI aren't very good, and which is a big problem in a game like this, right? Where like you rely on the AI to do everything. And it would only let you build the heroes. That's what makes me not vaporize the damn game. Yeah. Yeah. I guess it's its big USP. Yeah. Fair enough. Did you ever play Caesar, Pharaoh, Emperor, Rise of the Middle Kingdoms? I can imagine you appreciating them as city builders. I didn't. I think I played Pharaoh for a little bit. But no, I didn't. They were big games. RTS games were big games. It's so hard to like paint a picture of how big they were now. But they were. Why would I like Caesar, Pharaoh, or Emperor, Rise of the Middle Kingdoms? What's interesting about those? I'm definitely fascinated. I really liked Kohan. I mentioned it earlier, but Kohan was really cool. So now all these dudes. This kind of speaks to how the AI behave, right? Like, this is a rogue, and they're just running around looting chests and running back home. Whereas rangers and warriors are a bit more noble, and they'll actually attack the enemy. And it's just, I don't know. It's like, you know those games that kind of don't have a lot of gameplay, and you just kind of set up a simulation and watch things happen? Like that big battle simulator game where it's just like big armies going at it. And sort of the entire appeal of the game is kind of watching the AI behave. That's kind of the appeal of this game as well. I feel like they had an ambition which makes them feel like mini-me games, if that makes sense. Yeah, okay. I'll check them out. I think I have Pharaoh installed on something, actually. I think I've been meaning to play one of them. But it's funny thinking about it from like a YouTuber sense, I suppose. Like, RTS games aren't easy games to get people to click on. Which is, like, I imagine this stream will be less popular than when I do, like, Far Cry 2, right? Because everyone knows what Far Cry 2 is, and it's an FPS game. When you can look at it and understand it. But when you show someone an RTS game, it's a little more abstract. I remember loving how you could click on any character and hear their thoughts as they went about their day. Yeah. Games that do that are cool. You can kind of see that here. Like, you can see what they're doing. You can't see their thoughts, but you could do that in Roller Coaster Tycoon and a lot of Tycoon games. This is basically a Tycoon game. I've never had that thought before. But yeah, this is pretty much a Tycoon game for Age of Empires fans. I thought this was OG Warcraft, that's why I clicked it. Yeah, it's not. This is Majesty, the Fantasy Kingdom sim, an RTS game where you don't control your troops. You have to do this weird thing where you put bounties on stuff so the AI decide to go and do it, and you have to put heaps of money on the bounties to motivate low-level AI to do it because they're scared. Roller Coaster Tycoon, am I right? You are right, Graham Stoltz. Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 is the best. My grandma bought me a copy of Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 growing up. She was the best. Thanks, Grandma. Yeah, maybe I should do a video on Tycoon games. I could talk about what's a good Tycoon game. Well, I had this like earth moving Tycoon game as a kid. It was you know, like cat excavators and tractors and stuff, like bobcats. You know, the company Cat. There was like a cat Tycoon game. It wasn't really a Tycoon game, kind of. You like had a work site and you had to figure out how to dig it up and do earth moving, because my family works in earth moving and they wanted me to kind of get into earth moving, so they bought me an earth moving video game, which is funny, and sort of reflects the variety of video games you could find back then. That Skateboard Park Tycoon video was fun. Thank you. Yeah, Skateboard Park Tycoon's a great franchise. Maybe great's the wrong word. I put an insane amount of time into Game Dev Tycoon, just had such a satisfying gameplay loop. Yeah, I put a lot into that mobile one that was very similar that came out first. I think it was called like Game Dev Story or something. But yeah, it's crazy how much fun such a simple concept is, right? Like you kind of just investing money and creativity points and stuff into a game where essentially you're just looking at an office the whole time. I liked covering Skateboard Park Tycoon because it's really, really unique. I'm not sure I could do a video on this. And that's probably like it's hard to, when reviewing a game like this or a game like Skateboard Park Tycoon, you kind of have to explain a lot while talking about it, you know? It doesn't speak for itself in the way an FPS game does. You can look at an FPS game or a fighting game and you can immediately get a sense of how it plays. But with this, you spend a lot of a video just talking about like how it works, which isn't fun to talk about. It just feels like you're explaining things. I'd rather like go straight into more subjective opinion-y stuff when I'm talking. In a main video, that is. I don't know, like yeah, it's a tricky thing. I don't know if anyone's done a big video on this game yet. It was big. I know plenty of people who grew up with this game, so maybe it was just people my age. I feel like I switch between wanting really ambitious games that push what the genre can be, and wanting very simple, polished games that do one thing very well, and absolutely nothing in between. Yeah! Dude, I'm the same! I've been really enjoying Humanity, the puzzle game that just came out a couple of days ago, and it's really simple. It's just lemmings. It's 3D lemmings, but it's super polished and elegant, and there's something about it that just draws me in. But yeah, when something sits in that middle ground where it's like not trying too hard, or it's sort of not super polished either, I'm just bored. Like I was saying, I was playing Ratchet & Clank: A Rift Apart last night. And that game's polished, but I don't find the gameplay that polished. I just find it very standard, and it's not really trying too hard. And the story didn't grab me, and while I can kind of tell that it is a good game, nothing about it interested me. And it's a weird space to enjoy games in, because it kind of turns you into an asshole. It feels like you can't enjoy things that are just okay sometimes. Or if they are just okay, they have to at least be aiming to be something far more interesting. But it is what it is. Maybe I've just played too many video games. The objective of this quest is to build a fairgrounds. So this is a marketplace, and this is an inn. And these two buildings are like vital to your economy working. Hello, meaning me. Hello, hi, Shagadelic John. Shagadelic John, how are ya?
Your Highness, the palace renovations are finished.
And as a kid, this sort of taught you how many different facets there were to like stimulating a little tiny economy, right? So the marketplace is great because your guys can go there and buy potions and buy rings of protection, or the blacksmith is great because they can buy weapons. So you need to incentivize them to go there, which makes them stronger, which is great for them finishing or killing enemies on the map. And it's great for you because your tax collector can collect money from all these businesses. And this game works as an ideal capitalist setup, which is a thing. And having that sort of multifaceted approach to showing how an economy works as like an 8-year-old was kind of eye-opening. I strangely played a ton of Vampire Survivors and Super Auto Pets last year. I think a big part of it was they knew exactly what they wanted to be, and they did that super well. Yeah. Yeah. Like, I played a ton of Vampire Survivors too. And most of the games I cover on my channel are like super highly ambitious kind of games, and Vampire Survivors definitely isn't that. But, yeah, I agree. Those games are fun. I'm doing well. Just had my dinner. Almost choked on my vitamin. That's not good. I'm well. I feel like I'm getting used to streaming in a way that is, I don't know. Like, it's funny. When you start YouTube, or even when you start, like, using Twitter or something, it's a lot of trial and error. A lot of my early videos are just bad, but they were learning experiences, and they were learning what audiences responded to. So I'd be like, okay, no one likes it when I talk about Kane and Lynch, but people like it when I talk about 5 graphically impressive Game Boy games. And people preferred the way that I talked about those games than the way I talked about Nitronic Rush, or whatever video I did back in the early days. And now I'm going through that whole experience with streaming, because I don't watch a lot of streamers, so I don't have a sort of baseline of what a good stream is. So I'm kind of just winging it and seeing what people like and dislike. And maybe I'll wind up just playing Call of Duty every night at some point, and that'll be what people enjoy and what I enjoy most, and it's kind of about finding that balance too. But yeah, that's what I'm up to. We're gonna build a Temple to Agrella, which are healers, which are great. And then there's the technical side of streaming, which I'm kind of figuring out as well. Like, I don't... That guy's gonna die. I don't... Yeah, the whole stream key and streaming to YouTube or Twitch and what to title these videos, and there's thumbnails on these videos that I don't even understand how they got there. And that sort of thing is a whole puzzle that I'm figuring out here too, which is fun, and it sort of gives me a bit more perspective on content creation. But if you're just joining us, which I've said a few times now, is that something streamers do? I sound like a radio show. If you're just joining us, this is Majesty the Fantasy Kingdom Sim. A very widely beloved but sort of niche these days game where it's more of a tycoon than a RTS game. It looks like an RTS game, but you don't control your troops. A good stream is the one you enjoy doing. One of my favorite streamers is German985, and he just plays weird games he wants to play. Yeah, I mean, I'm having fun. Like, yeah, I guess as content creation goes, it's vital to me that I enjoy doing it. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. And hey, Majesty, the Fantasy Kingdom sim. But yeah, I guess it's just like YouTube, right? Like, there's an audience for a million different things on YouTube. And I imagine the same is sort of for streaming. I understand streaming is like the opposite of podcasting. For pods, a lot of my favorite creators recommend to be as niche as possible, but I feel for streamers, they build off playing mainstream. Yeah, I get that sense too. And I get the sense, like, I guess if I played a lot of Call of Duty or a lot of Rocket League, I would attract an audience that is interested in Call of Duty or Rocket League. And there is a far bigger audience for Rocket League than there is for Majesty the Fantasy Kingdom sim. So, just navigating that is something I'll have to figure out. I think my favorite two creators on YouTube are Northern Lion and Internet Shaquille. I think part of that is they have very strong senses of identity. Yeah. They know what they want to do, they know what they want to be and do. They know what they want to be and do that in a very deliberate way, if that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. I get that. Yeah, and I think, like, the thing with the videos that I make on YouTube, like, they are kind of exactly what I want to be doing on YouTube. Which I'm really glad worked out that way, right? Like, there was a very considered decision I made a few years ago to get away from list videos and just start making videos about the random obscure games that I like. And thankfully that worked out really well. Julian Santiago, I like your reviews a lot, plus that extra love to random PS2 games. Best gaming content on YouTube for me. Thank you very much. That's very kind. Yeah, I appreciate that. And I do a lot of random PS2 games. I think the PS2 is the most amazing platform. I was in Japan at the start of the year, and I kind of spent hundreds of dollars just buying random PS2 games. Because its library is just so extreme. It's so expansive. This is a trading post, which the further away from your home you build it, the more money it makes, which is an interesting dynamic. But it has to send a horse and cart all the way back to your castle, and you kind of have to hope that that horse and cart doesn't die. Where did you go in Japan? What did you make of it? I just went to Tokyo. I've been to Japan before. I love Japan. Japan's great. It's a very sort of different culture to here. Yeah, I went to Tokyo because my partner spent a lot of time in Japan and we were visiting all her friends. So that was a lot of fun. I remember going for the first time and just being blown away by the country. Yeah, the first time I went to Japan is like the most amazing holiday. Like, just an incredible experience. Yeah, I don't know. It's an amazing country and I love visiting. And it'll probably wind up being the country I visit the most in my life, because it speaks to me. So yeah, I can make the trading post sell healing potions, so when my adventurers are out here attacking things, they can buy healing potions from the trading post, which will get me more money. It's quite an in-depth game, but it's also very relaxed. It's nice. And remember to drink water, everyone. And remember to drink water from giant water bottles. But yeah, the PS2 is amazing. I'm doing The Great Escape, the video game, as a video soon, which I mentioned earlier, but it's an exemplary PS2 game in the sense that it's just a random game that doesn't look very good, but then you play it and it does all these strange and interesting things that you're sort of captivated by. So to win this mission, I built a fairgrounds, which I'm very close to doing. But that would end the stream, you know. I think we're winding things up soon. So for now, let's build a temple to Lunord, which I think builds these really strange fast guys. I recently developed a gluten intolerance these past 2 months and have been very interesting. That sucks. Gluten intolerance is awful. And it's amazing how many foods gluten is in. But yeah, a lot of sympathy there. It makes going to Japan hard too, if you're gluten intolerant. Because a lot of their soy sauce has gluten in it, which is annoying. And it shouldn't have gluten in it.
Your Majesty, our new building is complete.
Adept, that's what they're called. There's also this button here. It says, it's probably too small on the stream, but it says call to arms. And when you click that, all of your warriors come back home. And a lot of the buildings have these kind of abilities. So if I click that now, it costs me $500 and they all teleport home. So I can instantly get them defending, which gives it a bit more depth. And this one with the rogues, I can extort them for all the money they stole. Which gives me money quick, but in the long term kind of loses me money. Did you ever play Mount & Blade Warband? Yeah, I did. I love Mount & Blade, the series, a lot. I actually played the original Mount & Blade before it was released, because they kind of did an early access thing on their website all the way back in like 2005, and I played the beta version of the original game, and I just fell in love with it. It's an incredible video game, super addictive. And then when Warband came along, I remember, just like Majesty 2, remember spending all night downloading it and buying it on Steam, and I was so obsessed with Warband before it came out, and then my computer was kind of too bad to run it, so that was disappointing. I went back to the original game after that. I can only get fries at McDonald's, that's sad. I heard a rumor that the new GTA is going to have a feature where the in-game money will transfer to real life. I hope so. Get a full-time job playing GTA. In GTA. Making money in GTA. But, yeah. That's Majesty. Hope you enjoyed it. Let's build that fairgrounds. This makes me want to play more Tycoon games, you know? This makes me want to crack open Airport Tycoon and Mall Tycoon. Yeah, I thought that was really funny too. Like you can extract money out of GTA? Does it just mirror the real life economy? How does that work? Do people put money in? I'm sorry, it wasn't a rumor I read. It was a meme. Yeah, I thought so. GTA NFTs? When? Yeah, I'd love to do more Tycoon games. Yeah, gee, I'd love to talk about something like...
It's done, Majesty.
Well done. Go me. Did a tutorial mission. I'd love to talk about something like Skateboard Park Tycoon again. That was a cool game. But yeah, that was Majesty the Fantasy Kingdom Sim. I hope you enjoyed it. Basically a tycoon game. Never thought of it that way. Surprised it never clicked before. But yeah, a really sort of fun little fantasy kingdom economy simulation thing. Yeah. I almost bought the Blade Runner game, but I'm not sure if I'd like point-and-click games since I only play FIFA. It's a... There's a vast chasm between point-and-click games and FIFA. One of my favorite games of all time is a point-and-click game. It's called The Longest Journey, which I might stream sometime on here as well, but again, not a popular game that people will click on, but that's okay. I'm just doing what I want here. But yeah, I think I'm going to wrap things up. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Every Thursday morning around this time, hopefully a bit earlier than this time next time. Next week, I will be out of the country, so I won't be able to stream, but the week after that, I'll get back on it. I really enjoyed the laid-back conversational vibe of this stream. Thanks for hanging out with us. Hope I can catch more of these. Yeah, thanks for coming. I appreciate everyone actually watching this. It just feels so random to me. Know of a point-and-click game called Mystery of the Druids? I've heard of it. Is that the one with the really ugly front cover? I'll have to look it up afterwards. But, yeah. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the laid-back conversational vibe of this stream. And I'll see you all when I see you. A new video will be out early next week at the latest about The Great Escape on Xbox. And, yeah. Take care of yourselves.